Hello, we are back doing tier lists. I haven't done a tier list in a while. I found the ultimate cartoon tier list. Somebody in the comments recommended that I do this. I already did an adult cartoon tier list. If you want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description. So this is just all cartoons. So as you can see here, the tiers are SS tier, S, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then don't remember. So it's probably going to be a lot and don't remember. Uh, don't remember being that I just haven't watched it. Like there's some that I obviously know of. Like I know of the Spider-Man TV show, but I've never watched it, so I have to put it in don't remember. Same with this. I know of it. I've seen the movie, but I didn't actually watch the TV show either. Same with this. I know of the TV show. I just never watched it. I watched some episodes of Mario Brothers. I think it was actually a pretty good TV show. I think I'll put it in B tier. And there's obviously all the YouTube poops of it as well, of like Luigi with the stone football and all that. I think it was pretty funny, pretty good. A lot of YouTube poops came out of it, so that's pretty good. Cowboy Bebop, an anime that the first anime I ever watched, and I don't really like animes either. I don't watch them. The only two animes that I've watched and enjoyed, I would say, is Pokemon and Cowboy Bebop. Definitely. I will put this in S tier. The ending was good. I watched it like 8 years ago, I want to say, and I still remember a lot of it, which is pretty surprising. I still remember the ending. I know there was a movie, so my memory is coming in clutch there. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Okay, this is the first one that I actually don't know what it is. Dexter was always a good show. I would put it in A tier just because it's a good kids show. Like, there's really no plot. You could just watch any episode. It doesn't really matter. It's not in order or anything. So, a good kids TV show, A tier, solid. Beavis and Butthead, I've already ranked on the adults tier list, and I don't remember where I put it. I'd probably put it in A tier, though. It's very good, a classic. Yeah, I put it above Dexter's Laboratory. BoJack Horseman I watched before, pretty good show. I'll put it here in the middle. I binge watched this show. 2 years ago, I think. I just heard of it, and then I just was like, okay, I'll just watch the show. So then I watched it, and I was like, all right, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. Charlie Brown, Charlie Brown has to go in S tier, SS tier, I would say. I mean, it's just a classic. You can't go wrong with a Charlie Brown. The Halloween special, Christmas special. It's just a classic. I mean, adults could watch it, kids could watch it. Everybody knows who Charlie Brown is. Everybody's seen it probably. Naruto. Again, I said I don't watch animes, so other than Cowboy Bebop and Pokemon, all the other ones I'm going to put in don't remember because I haven't watched them. Same with Zelda. Didn't watch the Ghostbusters. Didn't watch that. Those are just video games. Don't know what that is. I've seen The Lion King, but I haven't seen the Timon and Pumbaa show. Yogi Bear, I've seen a couple episodes. Just another one of those kids TV shows. I'll put it top of B. I think it's pretty solid. What is that? I can't even read what that says. I don't think I've watched that. Bob's Burgers. Somewhat solid. I mean, not my favorite show of all time. I mean, I would still rather watch Family Guy, South Park, all of those shows. It's not bad. It has a couple of good episodes. Maybe bottom of A tier. I think that was a Nickelodeon show. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. The theme song for this is really good. Because we are the Aqua Team. I can't remember all the lyrics, unfortunately, but it's a very catchy theme song. As for the episodes, whenever I watched Adult Swim back in the day, I would never really watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, only a couple episodes, obviously. I would rather watch a Family Guy, so that's or American Dad, but Aqua Teen Hunger Force, not really the show for me, but I'd put it below Bob's Burgers, only by a little bit though. Gravity Falls is definitely an S tier. Kind of has to be. It's almost on par with Cowboy Bebop, as in with the ending was really good. Another show that I watched like 8-9 years ago, whenever 2013, whenever it ended, I don't know. But that was another one of the shows I would. These shows are very similar, and yeah, I would rank them. I'd put them both in S tier. That was another Adult Swim show that I've never seen. Chowder was pretty good. I'll put it in B tier though. I'll put it top of B tier. Powerpuff Girls is right up there with Dexter, another classic. I would prefer watching Dexter though. Scooby-Doo, I've seen a couple episodes of. There's been so many Scooby-Doo TV shows, it's unbelievable. Like, what? There's like, I don't know, there's been so many spin-offs that I don't even know which Scooby-Doo this is. Because obviously there was the old ones in like the 90s and then the early 2000s Cartoon Network ones. But it really is just the same show all around. Pretty good, pretty well-rounded. I would put it in, I'll put a bottom of A. Ben 10, I never liked Ben 10. I never watched Ben 10, which is a bit surprising for me even, but it was a show I never really watched. And I don't know what that is. I thought it was Garfield. Teen Titans Go. I think a lot of people hate the show because obviously the original was good. They still play, no they don't. I was going to say they play episodes on Toonami, but I doubt they do. Which Toonami I always just, when I was in hotel rooms, I always stayed up late to watch. And yeah, so I guess technically you could say I watched anime, but I wouldn't count that as watching it. I wasn't really in tune with the episodes or anything. I didn't feel the need to continue watching. It was just whatever anime came on, I was just like, okay, I guess I'll watch this. Pretty good show though, I'd say. I'll put it here. That's obviously the Looney Tunes spin-off that I have not watched, and then the original Looney Tunes. There's another one like Scooby-Doo. There's been a bunch of spin-offs. Obviously the original, and then the reboot. I don't know which one this is. I like the reboot though. I think it deserves to be top of A tier. And then obviously I was talking about the Scooby-Doo spin-offs. Here's another one. So this is the reboot, I believe, the like 2010 Scooby-Doo, and then that says what's new, so I don't believe that's the original. I don't know enough about it. I'm just going to rank all the Scooby-Doos similar to each other. I'm going to rank the original more than the spin-off, though, because I have seen both. Brickleberry was another underrated show that I liked. Pretty funny. A Comedy Central show. I do like Comedy Central shows. There's South Park, obviously, which is, as you saw in my adult tier list ranking, I would rank Family Guy and South Park, obviously, my two favorite shows. So Brickleberry was good though. What's a Beavis and Butthead? I could rank it like right here probably. Pretty underrated. I liked it. I mean, realistically, it just was kind of like one of those shows with just a bunch of cursing, but I find it funny. Flintstones, a classic. Um, didn't watch that much of it, but I'm pretty sure I've watched some of it. Um, well, actually, no. I'm going to put it here because I haven't seen enough of it to rank it, actually. Hey Arnold is a pretty good show. I watched it. They did a movie, which was pretty good. I liked the show. I liked the plot. I think that deserves to be an A tier. Probably right there is a good spot for it. Magic School Bus is another one of those shows, kind of like Reading Rainbow, if you ever watched that. That you just, they play in elementary school and then you have to, I don't even remember it. It was elementary school, obviously. I don't remember that. I just remember watching Reading Rainbow. I will put it, I will put it there. And there's my phone going off, if you hear that. Another anime I didn't watch. This is a newer Cartoon Network show, I believe. A Rugrats spinoff that I've never watched. Alvin and the Chipmunks cartoon I never watched. Gumball's pretty good. I remember I watched the season premiere, or the series premiere, I should say, of Gumball on Cartoon Network. And the first episode of the show was actually really good. I thought, I obviously stopped watching it when it got to like, I don't even know what season. I watched the first season though, and probably the second and third, but after that I don't think I watched it. So I don't know how, I'm pretty sure that it's gone now, but the first seasons were good. I put it there. I've watched this show, but not enough to rank it anywhere. Same with Animaniacs. Annoying Orange was... I remember Annoying Orange was the show that came on before Lego Ninjago on Cartoon Network, because obviously Lego Ninjago is another one of my favorite shows. I have most of the Lego Ninjago sets too, the early ones at least. So I watched some Annoying Orange. So not a show I ever really watched that much, but as you can see, there's not a lot down here. So I think Annoying Orange could respectively be in that D tier. Archer I heard is a good show, but I never really watched too much of it. Arthur, a classic. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with Arthur. A PBS show too. Whenever I went to Chico, my grandma only had PBS on her TV, so I would watch the PBS shows in the morning. But Arthur was a good show. Not above these. I think it could go above the Scooby-Doos. I don't know. I never watched the Batman. I think I watched a couple episodes of Big Mouth, but not enough. Same, Pink Panther is another one of those shows that they played in the cafeteria when it was raining in elementary school, so I watched a couple. I never really paid attention to it because I never really liked staying inside. I always liked playing outside, so whenever they made us stay inside because it was raining and played the Pink Panther, I never really paid too much attention to it. But as I could remember, it was a pretty good show. Put it top of B. Show that I never watched. Flapjack was a pretty underrated show. I may just be saying that because this was one of my I can't say one of my dad's favorite shows, but this was a show that he would show me. So I don't remember too much of it, but he really liked this show. So for that, I'll put it. I think it deserves to be an A tier, but probably not above any of those shows. G.I. Joe was actually his favorite show when he was a kid, so that's. But I never watched it, so. And then this was a Nickelodeon show. Never really watched too much of it though. No, I haven't watched enough to rank it anywhere. Care Bears. No, never watched that. Buzz Lightyear, I didn't even know he had a TV show. But I obviously watched the Toy Story movies. Clifford, I like Clifford. Clifford was a good show. Another, I think a PBS show. I think that deserves to be up here with Arthur, maybe below Arthur. Clone Wars, I really like I actually know a lot about Star Wars, which is funny, because I've never seen any of the Star Wars movies, but I watched all the Family Guy Star Wars parodies, and some of the Robot Chicken ones too, so, and then my dad was, well, I don't know if he is anymore, but he liked Star Wars, so, yeah, and then he always gets mad at me when we're like playing Jeopardy and I beat him in the Star Wars category because I've never watched Star Wars. I'm never really that big of a fan of it, but since I liked Family Guy so much, I watched the Family Guy episodes, and I know more about Star Wars than him just off Family Guy parodies of Star Wars. Because obviously in those parodies it's the same storyline. It's just Family Guy characters are the Star Wars characters. And Attack on Titan is an anime I never watched because I didn't watch animes. Billy and Mandy is another show like Flapjack. I like the movies though. The first Billy and Mandy movie is very good. It's a very good movie. I think it deserves to be up here. I think it deserves to be there. I think it deserves to be above Hey Arnold, actually. Daria's from the Beavis and Butthead universe. I never watched it. DuckTales spinoff, probably. Digimon. Reminded me of Beyblade's show. I watched the Beyblade show for a little bit because I obviously collected Beyblades back in the day, but yeah, I never really watched it since then. I didn't even know Aladdin had a TV show. I knew the Mickey Mouse show existed, but I never watched it. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, I probably did. Avatar is another one. Heard it's really good, but I never watched it because I don't really like animes that much. Dora is a show that I watched some of, like before I went to elementary school. I'd wake up and watch some Dora. Not really a great show, but you know, they're teaching kids about Spanish and stuff. That's pretty good. It could go bottom of B tier. Doug was a show that I never watched, but I knew of it. I'm back and forth if I knew that or not. I don't think I have. I know Diego was a big fan of Dragon Ball, but I've never watched it. DuckTales I've never watched. Neither Chalk Zone. And then obviously we have Family Guy here, which you already know where Family Guy is going. Family Guy is going top of SS tier for me. Fanboy and Chum Chum is a show that I watched a little bit back in the day. Not a very good show. It was kind of funny though, just with like the fart jokes and everything. I think C tier is a good ranking for it. We Bare Bears was a pretty good show. I watched the first season probably on Cartoon Network when it first premiered. So the first couple seasons were pretty good, and then I think they made a movie. I never watched it though. I think it deserves to be an A tier. I think it deserves to be up here with Gumball. Cat Dog, another pretty good show. I never watched too much of it, but I knew of it on Was it on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network? I'm not sure. Pretty solid though. Yeah, it could be bottom of A tier. Oh yes, this is another classic. I'm forgetting his first name. Is it Blue's House for Imaginary Friends, or is it Max's House for Imaginary Friends? I don't know. But this was a good show. This deserves to be up here. Maybe not above Beavis and Butthead. Maybe in the middle's pretty good. I know a lot of people like that show. It was very funny. And I never watched that. I did watch My Little Pony, unfortunately. Just because it was on HBO, I want to say. Same channel that they played the Goosebumps on. I was a big fan of the Goosebumps, so I'd occasionally watch My Little Pony while I was waiting for them to show the Goosebumps. Futurama was a good show. I went to the library a couple times and picked out their Futurama. I think in terms of writing, obviously is better than Family Guy, but I could never. Family Guy is always going to be number 1 or number 2, depending on where South Park goes. I think it deserves to be bottom of S tier. I heard of the show but never watched it. I never really watched Godzilla. I watched all the movies but never the TV show. Never watched these. Never watched that. Is that He-Man? I know my dad watched He-Man before. What is that show? I feel like I recognize the character in the baseball hat. Sonic, I've never watched, but I've watched the YouTube poops on it, but that doesn't count, obviously. Cow and Chicken, another show. I watched some episodes. Pretty good. Pretty funny. Another one of those shows is kind of like this one with fart jokes and stuff. But it was pretty well done. It had a couple of adult jokes in there. I think top of B is fair for it. Blue's Clues, yeah. Blue's Clues was a classic. I love me some old Blue's Clues. This was like one of the first shows I watched other than Family Guy. We gotta put Blue's Clues in S tier. Uncle Grandpa was another one of the Cartoon Network shows that I watched. It wasn't really that good. It's like C tier, but I mean, for what it was worth, it wasn't bad. Regular Show's obviously a classic. I watched every Regular Show episode. Obviously, this goes in S tier. I would even put it above Futurama. I don't know what that is. Inspector Gadget. I know that my dad liked that show, but I never really watched it. I recognize that show, but I don't like it. I never really liked Johnny Test, but I've actually seen some episodes. I guess it could be ranked then. If it was my personal opinion, I would put it in C tier, maybe bottom of C tier for me. King of the Hill was another one of those shows that I never watched because I didn't really like it. At least when I was a kid, I didn't like it. I much preferred Family Guy and South Park. But I've seen it a couple times on my TV recently, and it's pretty good. I don't know why I never liked it when I was a kid. Maybe it was just the art style. I never watched it, but it's a pretty solid show now that I've seen it. I would put it like, it could go there. Kirby I never watched. Lilo and Stitch, I remember I had friends who watched that back in like elementary school. Same with this, but I never really watched it. Watched the X-Men movies, never that. Oh, it's an
Make this December one to remember. Together. Happy holidays from Lexus.
Thank you, Lexus. It just interrupted my talking. Mr. Pickles, I really liked Mr. Pickles, but obviously when I was younger, I really liked watching gore and horror movies and stuff. Which have I done a horror movies tier list? I'm sure I have. Freddy vs. Jason is my favorite movie of all time. I've watched it every Friday. I've already said this. I don't really like horror movies anymore, but obviously when I was younger, I watched horror movies a lot, which is the reverse of what a lot of people do. Usually when you're younger, you're not allowed to watch horror movies, and then you get older and then you watch horror movies. But mine was the opposite. I always laughed at Mr. Pickles, though. It was always a very funny show. But I don't think it deserves to be ahead of any of these cartoons. But it is my personal ranking, so maybe I would put it like right there. Ed, Edd n Eddy was a show I watched a couple episodes, but I wouldn't say enough to rank it. No, I'll rank it though, because I have been ranking shows that I've only seen a couple episodes of. I don't want to really be too fair. I would put it in A tier. I would put it right there. Kids Next Door, never watched too much of. Pretty funny show though, of what I remember. Most of these shows are just going off memory since I don't watch them anymore, obviously, because most of them aren't even around anymore. Oh, where could this go? Right there is a good spot for it. Sonic, I never watched. Captain Planet, never watched. I actually have watched The Nut Shack, which is pretty funny. I watched it on YouTube, actually. Oh, this is obviously a show that everybody hates. I watched it, and I actually kind of liked it, though. But, yeah. Top of C. I actually liked the show, but obviously it was not great. Phineas and Ferb movie was good. I liked it. The show, I didn't watch too much of, but if I could remember correctly, the show was good. Okay, so I ranked, I forgot what show I just ranked. Okay, it doesn't matter, I ranked it somewhere. Again, I never really watched Star Wars. I actually have watched some Planet Sheen, which is funny because I've actually probably watched more of this show than actually Jimmy Neutron. I actually liked it, but obviously I was a kid, so I would actually put it there. I don't know about that, or that. I recognize that kind of, but, and Pokemon, obviously I was a Pokemon collector. I like the cards more than the show, but I like the show too, at least the early seasons of it. That deserves to go in S tier. Not above regular show, though. Georgia, the Jungle, never watched. Rick and Morty. I don't know. The show hasn't been doing great, I don't think. But some of those seasons, like the season 2 finale, I want to say, the one where Rick gets imprisoned, and obviously the evil Morty timeline, I really liked. Like, it was hit or miss sometimes, but when it hit, it hit. Like, it was, like with the evil Morty episode when he has the eye patch and it's revealed, like, those are some of the best episodes in television, in my opinion. but obviously when it misses, it misses. So yeah, Rick and Morty fans are kind of like, it either is the best show ever or the worst show ever. That's just how it is. For that, I think it deserves to be in the middle. I think it deserves to be like right there. I know a lot of people are going to be mad that I ranked it that close to Mr. Pickles, but it is what it is. Never watched that. What is that show? Peppa Pig. Watched some YouTube poofs, but never the show. I heard Pinky and the Brain's pretty good, but I've watched it probably, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what the episodes were. Same with Popeye. Recess, I know a lot of people like. The Ren and Stimpy show, pretty good. I liked the adult Ren and Stimpy show. That was pretty funny. The actual one, I think, deserved to go in A tier, though. Maybe it deserves to be up here. I just remember it was really good. Robot Chicken is a show that not a lot of people like. I like Robot Chicken, though. It's just one of those goofy shows that you don't really have to be, kind of like Family Guy or South Park. You could just watch any episode, just laugh. It's pretty funny. I think Robot Chicken deserves to be up there. I think in the middle... Wait, no, where's that other show? Yeah, it's kind of like Beavis and Butthead, I would say. But I can't rank it that high. I think that in between Rick and Morty and Mr. Pickles is a pretty solid place to put it. Rocko's Modern Life I watched some of, but well, actually, yeah, I could tell you that was a good show. But let me rank Rugrats first. The Rugrats movie was good. They did the crossover with the other TV show. I would put it in A tier. I would put it... Would I put it above Ren and Stimpy? Yeah, probably. Where's the show? Where's the show? Yeah, Rocko's Modern Life. I know that they're planning on doing a movie, or the movie's already released or something, but the show was good. I think it deserves to be up here. Red versus Blue, I've never even heard of that, but I could already tell that's like a show that was on, like a live-action Cartoon Network show in the 2010s. Samurai Jack was a good show, too. I never actually watched the Cartoon Network Samurai Jack, but the Adult Swim Samurai Jack was great. The reboot was very good. So obviously I watched all the Adult Swim Samurai Jack. I wouldn't... I would put it top of A tier. I don't know about S tier, but definitely deserves to be in top of A tier. Adventure Time is another one, which I stopped watching just because my mom got rid of Spectrum, so I couldn't continue watching it. But the first like 6 seasons or something I watched, and it was pretty good. I wouldn't put it above regular show, but it deserves to be. It's another one of those shows, or do I rank it top of A tier or bottom of S tier? I think that I'd put it top of A tier rather than bottom of S tier. I never watched the Batman or the Sonic or that, and then obviously you have South Park. It's always been hard. It's always been a back and forth on whether I like South Park more than Family Guy or Family Guy more than South Park. It's always very hard, but I always sway a little bit more towards South Park, even though I have the bias towards Family Guy since I've been watching it since I was like 3 years old. But South Park just is a better show. I mean, I've got to say it. South Park's just it's just a better show, but obviously I have that bias towards Family Guy, so it has to be in my top 2. SpongeBob, obviously a classic. You can't really rank SpongeBob anywhere other than S tier. It's gotta be. I would rather watch a regular show than SpongeBob, but SpongeBob's obviously a great show. I watched some of that, but I couldn't tell you what happened in it. Same with that. I know that people prefer the Teen Titans over the Teen Titans Go, and I never watched too much of it, but I will put it above Teen Titans Go. Where is Teen Titans Go? Is down here somewhere. Yeah, bottom of A tier. Fine. That's the Therapist show I never watched too much of. Never watched the Powerpuff Girls reboot. I actually never really watched Jimmy Neutron. I watched the reboot Planet Sheen, obviously. Total Drama Island, I would rank that. Now we have all these shows down here. It's hard to scroll up. I would put that in B tier. Probably top of B tier, actually. Very Odd Parents, never really a show I watched. Watched the movie, but never the show. Never watched enough of that for it. Same with The Simpsons. I know that it's probably always a surprise to people when I say that I never really watched The Simpsons. It's just never a show that I really liked. I'd always watch Family Guy or South Park. Smurfs, never really a show I watched. This is the one that the Rugrats did the movie with, but I never watched it. I never watched Thundercats. I never watched Baby Looney Tunes. Tom and Jerry's a classic, though. You can't go wrong with Tom and Jerry. And now we just have so many shows down here. Yeah, Tom and Jerry definitely got to be in A tier. Could go, like, with these shows, like the Rugrats and everything. Could go there. Never really watched Transformers or Danny Phantom or that Cartoon Network show that was on the 2010s. I do actually know that show. I thought that was Happy Tree Friend for a second. Veggie Tales, a classic. I know that I went to church a couple times when I was a kid, and then they had us watch Veggie Tales because it was like a Christian show or something. Veggie Tales is a classic. I think it could be like there. And some shows I didn't really watch that much. Steven Universe was a good show. Steven Universe deserves to be A tier. Put it there. I'm just going to get rid of... I collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I never watched the show. Alright, now I'm just... This is the Looney Tunes reboot. Oh, Invader Zim was good. Is that a reboot of the show? Let me just get rid of all the anime and stuff. Wow, this really is the ultimate. I watched the movies, but never the TV shows. Okay, continue putting in the shows. Oh, there's the adult Ren and Stimpy show. I was talking about that earlier. I think it would just be... I watched the movie before, but I've never seen the TV. Or I probably have watched the TV shows. Or the TV show. I just don't know enough about it. Same with Dragon Tales, I probably watched before. I've heard of it, never watched it though. I think I've seen it. I've seen like the pictures of it, but I never watched it. And some more stuff. Cartoon Network show. Heard of that show, but never watched it. So it looks like you just took LSD or something. I read the books. Although I probably didn't even read the books because I didn't even like to read books back then. I have actually watched Clone High before. Okay, I'll start doing them now. Courage. Where should we put Courage? I always like Courage. I think it, shoot, where is it? Here it is. Courage deserves to be in A tier, I would say. That's another one of those classic shows. Yeah. I know a lot of people like Courage more than I do, actually. Courage was just kind of like Dexter to me, in the way of, it's just a show you could watch any episode of. But it was the same plot every time, basically. All the same thing happened. It was just different characters. So I'd put it there. Okay, where is... Okay. Looney Tunes, the reboot. I watched some of. Not better than the original, obviously. But still not bad. I mean, for a reboot, it wasn't actually terrible. I'll put it in bottom A tier. Invader Zim, didn't watch too much of it. A little bit before my time, so I didn't watch too much of the show. I'm pretty sure it was actually canceled in like 2003 or something. I did watch the movie though, and I did watch a couple of episodes, so I know that it's good, so I will put it in A tier. I think that these shows actually deserve to be above Brickleberry, if I'm being honest. Caillou. A lot of people hate Caillou, but this was a show that my grandma always got mad that my dad would, or my mom would let me watch horror movies and Family Guy, and she always made me watch Caillou. I think it deserves to be there with Dora. And then the penguins from Madagascar. I watched some of this on Nickelodeon, I believe. Not too bad. I think it goes in C tier with like Fanboy and Chum Chum and Uncle Grandpa and those shows. Adult Ren and Stimpy, I said earlier, was I preferred over the actual Ren and Stimpy show, the original. That's because this one you could obviously make a couple more adult jokes, which made it funnier. You had more free range to make jokes and stuff like that. Where did I put the original? Oh, actually right there. I put them right next to each other. Perfect fit. And then Clone High I watched. I actually really liked this show. I was kind of late to the show, obviously, since it was only one season in 2001 or 2000 or something. It was good though. Another one of those shows like Aqua Teen Hunger Force with a catchy, good theme song. I liked it though. I liked the plot. I liked all that. Could go below Ren and Stimpy though. American Dad. Always preferred Family Guy over it, but it was always good. It has a couple of good episodes, like the Illuminati episode I really liked. Doesn't deserve to be S tier, but it could go in A tier. Could go like right there, probably. Cleveland show, pretty underrated. I'm seeing more people say how underrated this show actually was now, because it is. I know a lot of people didn't like it back when it was actually airing, but now a lot of people actually miss it. I'm not surprised, because it actually was a pretty well-written show. For that, it deserves to go in A tier. Deserves to go, maybe, yeah, it's like on par with Bob's Burgers. I'd say maybe a little bit better. I'll probably receive some hate from that statement. Cyber Chase, I never watched, but sometimes Sunday morning or Saturday morning, before all the college and NFL games start, I'll go on this channel on my dad's TV where it shows all like the Sunday morning cartoons or Saturday morning cartoons, and they play this, and they play Cyber Chase and Dr. Seuss and shows like that, like kind of like the PBS shows. So not too bad. It's like Veggie Tales, kind of. I know Gary likes that show, but again, I never watched anime. Heard of that show. Apparently it's a lot of cursing. Dan Versus I watched. It was a good show. I actually, my fourth, maybe even my third or second actually most popular video on my YouTube channel is a clip from Dan Versus. And I think it has like 56,000 views or something. Good show. Don't know about S tier. You know what? I think it. Oh no, I wouldn't put it above Adventure Time or Samurai Jack. Good show though. I liked it. No. Never watched any of these. I want to say I've played Mortal Kombat, but I probably haven't. Video games is another thing that I have not played a lot of. So that's another tier list that I couldn't do because all I play is Roblox. Schoolhouse Rock. This is a classic. Conjunction Junction, what's your function? Don't actually remember all the words to that. A noun is any person, place, or thing. There was that song too. Trying to think of more. Obviously the classic. I'm just a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill, and maybe someday I'll S tier. But yeah, great, good show. That looked like Rugrats. That was a YouTube show, which I'm surprised about. I know that Dick Figure should be on. If Ed's World's on here, then Dick Figure should be on here too, because that's a classic right there. If you remember that show, say it down in the comments, because that's a classic. If you remember that, then you're old school. Oh yeah, it has been Hotel. I know that Diego always used to torture me with that show. That was like the COVID year. I thought that was Wallace and Gromit. Max and Ruby, I watched a couple. Hulu. Hulu's in a show. It's a streaming platform. Hey, it's Fat Albert. That's the show. That's the creators of Regular Show made that. I didn't know Harley Quinn had a TV show. Wow, lots of anime on here. This is the cartoon tier list, not the anime tier list. But I am glad Cowboy Bebop was on here, because obviously, but there it is. Here is the tier list. So we have 3 in SSS tier. Honestly, I think Charlie Brown should... I'm going to move Charlie Brown down. I'm going to move it to like right there. Because realistically, for me, there should only be 2 TV shows in SS tier, and it should be South Park and Family Guy. S tier, Gravity Falls, Cowboy Bebop, very good regular show. So those are my top 5, and then we have a couple classics in here like Schoolhouse Rock, Blue's Clues. Put Reading Rainbow in there too. If they had Reading Rainbow on here, that would also go with the classic learning shows. Pokemon's a good show. Obviously, SpongeBob and Charlie Brown are classics. Futurama's good. Samurai Jack, Adventure Time, good. So, and then there's all these shows. So, yeah. So, leave in the comments below what tier list you want me to make next. But obviously, my choices are limited since I am a bit of a boomer.